Take it away, I know I was taking away. Don't take it away, you know I pray. Take it away, cause we need your love. Now take it away now. Take it away, I know I was taking away. Don't take it away, you know I pray, I pray, I pray. We need your love. Now take it away. Take it away, you know I need your love. Take it away, 'cause we need your love. Don't take it away, don't take it away now. Take it away, please. Take it away, I need your love. I need your love. To need your love. Don't take it away, don't take it away. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Most High Christ. Most High Christ for One Nation. Israelite School. O.N.I.S.
Yes, sir.
We in the building. Shalom, shalom, Most High Christ.
Shalom, Most High in Christ.
Back in the building. And it's the officer, St. John.
Shalom, shalom, family. Happy Sabbath.
Shalom, shalom from myself, Judea, and I will be in the passenger seat.
Yes, sir.
So, we've been gone for a minute. I know the count might be low today. We've been gone for a while. Apologies for any inconveniences. We got things we got to get on the road. Things to get going. This captivity ain't been light, but most importantly, we're glad to finally be back in front of y'all. So, y'all can't tell I'm under the weather. So, with all being said, we thank for the Most High. I pray everybody been in the spirit, still been walking right accordingly in these trying times. And Lord's will, we will be back soon and more consistently with classes and other things that's getting ready to come to y'all. We got some things that we've been talking about, some things that we want to bring that I think that y'all gonna like for those who follow us. So let's stay tuned in. Lord's will be coming at y'all strong again in the spirit of the Lord.
Yes, sir. Lord's will.
I'm gonna pass it over, and I'm gonna sit back.
All right. So shalom, shalom once again. Happy Sabbath, family. You know we coming in here together. I pray that everybody keeping their Sabbath holy. We're gonna hop in these scriptures, do our scripture reading and the Apocrypha. We're gonna jump back into Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13. That's where we're gonna be starting off. So Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13, and verse 1. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13, and verse 1. Surely, vain are all men by nature, who are ignorant of God, and could not out of the good things that are seen know him that is. Neither by considering the works did they acknowledge the workmaster, but deemed either fire or wind or the swift air, or the circle of the stars, or the violent water, or the lights of heaven, to be the gods which govern the world, with whose beauty. Oh, go ahead.
Right. Now that right there is, believe it or not, that verse right there is the breakdown between the battle between Israelites and those who believe in things like Kemet and such, Egyptology and stuff. They worship the creations. We worship the creator. We know the Most High created all those things. Them, they'll see this water and praise this water as a god, and then as you see, they see crocodile heads on things. They worship the creations versus the creator. That's why they worship the air, they worship the stars, they worship the moon, they worship this, they worship that, they worship this lake over here, they worship this over here, this rock over here. They worship all these creations, and some of them probably almost like a Big Bang Theory. It just appeared and it's a god.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference between us and them. They worship all these other things, and in spite of that, we worship the Creator who gave us the things.
Right. Yeah. Verse 3, with whose beauty, if they being delighted, took them to be gods, let them know how much better the Lord of them is. For the first author of beauty have created them. But
Right.
if they
just another quick run to say, as good as like those who worship the water. Let's say if Aquafina was a good, those who worship the water, they think about how they worship how good the water tasted. They know how good the water is. Oh, there's some good tasting water. It's a God water. This water, this water has got to be God. It tastes so good. It quenched my thirst. Versus the Creator. The Creator gave you the water. It's a difference. That's the difference between, and when you really look at this, that's the separation between idolatry and almost everything. It's always going to be you worshiping that thing more than the Creator. That's the whole thing about idolatry. You worship that thing more than the Creator. You give the glory to that creation versus the Creator. That's what we all feel. We fell short at. Some of us. I'm gonna show you how deep it goes just on the shallow level. Yes, a woman might have a son, and she loved the hell out of her son. She loved that son more than she loved the Most High, and to the point where it becomes idolatry. To where that son get away with breaking God's commandments. That son get away with, you turn blind eye, all that stuff because you worship that son. You love that son so much that you oversee what God says, and that becomes idolatry. You idolize the son. You love the creation more than the Creator. There you
go. That's some good stuff, though, man. Yeah. Verse 4. But if they were astonished at their power and virtue, let them understand by them how much mightier he is that made them. For by the greatness and beauty of the creatures, proportionably the maker of them is seen. But yet for this they are the less to be blamed. For they peradventure err, seeking God and desirous to find him. For being conversant in his works, they search him diligently and believe their sight, because the things are beautiful that are seen. Howbeit neither are they to be pardoned. For if they were able to know so much that they could aim at the world, how did they not sooner find out the Lord thereof? But miserable are they, and in dead things is their hope, who called them gods, which are the works of man's hand, gold and silver.
This is what's this going into basically like the foolishness of idolatry. It's breaking down the foolishness of it. So it says, but read 10 again.
Verse 10. But miserable are they, and in dead things is their hope, who called them gods, which are the works of man's hands, gold and silver, to shew art in and resemblance of beast, or a stone good for nothing, the work of ancient hands.
Right. So it's basically saying like most people are miserable who have put all their hopes and let it rest into lifeless things. That's idols. You know what I'm saying? You put your hopes and all that stuff into idols. And then it's breaking when it's explaining, it's really breaking down stuff like animals, artistry type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, what's another one? Silver, gold, carved stones with like stones of people faces, stones of animals, all that type of like all that type of stuff. It's going into these things that people have put false hopes in and it leave them miserable because of it. It ain't nothing but the work of
Yep.
a man's hand. It ain't nothing but the work of a man's hand.
Yes, sir. Verse 11. Now a carpenter that felleth timber, after he have sawn down the tree, meet for the purpose, and taken off all the bark skillfully round about, and have wrought it handsomely, and made a vessel thereof fit for the service of man's life. And after spending the refuse of his work to dress his meat, have filled himself, and taken the very refuse among those which serve to no use, being a crooked piece of wood and full of knots, have carved it diligently when he had nothing else to do, and formed it by the skill of his understanding, and fashioned it to the image of a man, or made it like some vile beast, laying it over with vermilion, and with paint coloring it red, and covering every spot therein. And when he had made a convenient room for it, set it in a wall, and made it fast with iron. For he provided for it that it might not fall, knowing that it was unable to help itself, for it is an image, and have need of help. Then maketh he prayer for his goods, for his wife and children, and is not ashamed to speak to that which have no life. For health he calleth upon that which is weak. For life prayeth to that which is dead. For aid humbly beseeketh that which have least means to help. And
You
for a
see
good
how?
journey.
Do you see like how I said in the context how it's switching it? It's starting to break down the foolishness of what you're doing when you're in idolatry.
Yep.
It's breaking down. It's saying you praying to that which is weak when you sick. You praying to that which is dead when you want life. It's like because this shit is not real. It's nothing. So
Right.
it's literally breaking down the foolishness of it.
Yeah. How you gonna pray to something that can't even help itself?
And that's why I break it down like that. He fastened it because it can't stand by itself.
Right. So I'll read verse 18 again. For health he calleth upon that which is weak. For life prayeth to that which is dead. For aid humbly beseeketh that which have least means to help. And for a good journey he asketh of that which cannot set a foot forward. And for gaining and getting, and for good success of his hands, asketh ability to do of him that is most unable to do anything. Chapter 14, verse 1. Again, one preparing himself to sail, and about to pass through the raging waves, calleth upon a piece of wood more rotten than the vessel that carrieth him. For verily desire of gain devised that, and the workman built it by his skill. But thy providence, O Father, governeth it. For thou hast made a way in the sea, and a safe path in the waves, shewing that thou canst save from all danger. Yea, though a man went to sea without art, nevertheless, thou wouldest not that the works of thy wisdom should be idle. And therefore do men commit their lives to a small piece of wood, and passing the rough sea in a weak vessel are saved. For in the old time also, when the proud giants perished, the hope of the world governed by the hand escaped in a weak vessel, and left to all ages a seed of generation. For blessed is the wood whereby righteousness cometh, but that which is made with hands is cursed, as well it as he that made it. Because he made it, and it because being corruptible, it was called God. For the ungodly and his ungodliness are both alike hateful unto God. For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it. Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles shall there be a visitation, because in the creature of God they are becoming abomination and a stumbling blocks to the souls of man, and a snare to the feet of the unwise. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life. For neither
Right.
were
So it's the
they.
origin of idolatry right here.
Mhm.
The sexual immorality was the beginning of it.
Yes, sir. Verse verse 13. For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. For by the vain glory of man they enter into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end. For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he have made an image of his child soon taken away, now honored him as a God, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices. Thus, in process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law, and graven images was worshipped by the commandments of kings, whom man could not honor in presence, because they dwelt far off. They took the counterfeit of his visage from far, and made an express image of a king, whom they honored, to the end that by this their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent, as if he were present. Also, the singular diligence of the artificer did help to set forward the ignorant to more superstition. For he, peradventure, willing to please one in authority, forced all his skills to make the resemblance of the best fashion. And so the multitude allured by the grace of the work took him now for a God, which a little before was but honored as a man. And this was an occasion to deceive the world. For man serving either calamity or tyranny, they ascribe unto stones and stocks the incommunicable, oh my God, name. Verse 22. Moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of God, but whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance, those so great plagues called they peace, for which they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies, or made reveling of strange rites. They kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled, but either one slew another treacherously, or grieved him by adultery, so that they so that there reigned in all men without exception blood, manslaughter, theft, dissimulation, corruption, unfaithfulness, tumults, perjury, disquiting of good men, forgetfulness of good terms, defiling of souls, changing of kinds, disorder in marriages, adultery, and shameless uncleanness. For the worshiping of idols not to be named is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil. For either they are mad when they be merry, or prophesy lies, or live unjustly, or else lightly forswear themselves. For in so much as their trust is in idols which have no life, though they swear falsely, yet they look not to be hurt.
Right. So
Howbeit,
all of that stuff you just read is basically
mhm,
is telling you that's the results of idolatry. When you in the midst of it, that's gonna be the things, that's the results of it.
the cause and the fit. Yep. Okay. So that's on. Okay, verse 30. Howbeit, for both causes shall they be justly punished, both because they thought not well of God, giving heed unto idols, and also unjustly swore in deceit, despising holiness. For it is not the power of them by whom they swear, but it is the just vengeance of sinners that punisheth always the the offense of the ungodly. Chapter 15 in verse 1. But thou, O God, art gracious and true, long suffering, and in mercy ordering all things. For if we sin, we are dying, knowing thy power, but we will not sin, knowing that we are counted dying. For to know thee is perfect righteousness. Yeah, to know thy power is the root of immortality. For neither did the mischievous invention of man deceive us, nor image spotted with diverse colors, the painter's fruitless labor, the sight whereof enticeth fools to lust after it. And so they desire the form of a dead image that have no breath. Both they that make them, they that desire them, and they that worship them, are lovers of evil things, and are worthy to have such things to trust upon. For the potter, tempering soft earth, fashioneth every vessel with much labor for our service. Yeah, of the same clay he maketh both the vessels that serve for clean uses, and likewise also all such as serve to the contrary. But what is the use of either sort? The potter himself is the judge. And employing his labor lewdly, he maketh a vain god of the same clay. Even he which a little before was made of earth himself, and within a little while after returneth to the same, out of the which he was taken, when his life which was lent him shall be demanded. Notwithstanding his care is not that he shall have much labor, nor that his life is short, but striveth to excel goldsmiths and silversmiths, and endeavoreth to do like the workers in brass, and counteth it his glory to make counterfeit things. His heart is ashes, his hope is more vile than earth, and his life of less value than clay. For as much as he knew not his maker, and him that inspired into him an active soul, and breathed in a living spirit. But they counted our life a pastime, and our time here a market for gain. For say they, we must be getting every way, though it be by evil means. For this man that of earthly matter maketh brittle vessels and graven images, knoweth himself to offend above all other. And all the enemies of thy people that hold them in subjection are most foolish, and are more miserable than very babes. For they count for they counted all the idols of the heathen to be gods, which neither have the use of eyes to see, nor noses to draw breath, nor ears to hear, nor fingers of hands to handle. And as for their feet, they are slow to go. For man made them, and he that borrowed his own spirit fashioned them. But no man can make a God like unto himself. Damn. It said he that borrowed his own spirit fashioned them. Yeah. Your spirit ain't yours. Verse 17. Hold up. Yeah, verse 17. For being mortal, he worketh a dead thing with wicked hands. For he himself is better than the things which he worketh, he worshipeth. Whereas he lived once, but they never. Yeah, they worship those beasts also that are most hateful. For being compared together, some are worse than others. Neither are they beautiful, so much as to be desired and respect the beast. But they went without the praise of God and his blessing. Chapter 16 and verse 1. Therefore, by by the light where they punished wordily, and by the multitude of beasts tormented, instead of which punishment dealing graciously with thy own people, now prepares for them meat of a strange taste, even quails to stir up their appetite, to the end that they desiring food might for the ugly sight of the beast sent among them loath even that, which they must needs desire. But these suffering penury for a short space might be made partakers of a strange taste. For it was requisite that upon them exercising tyranny should come penury, which they could not avoid. But to these it should only be shewed how their enemies were tormented. For when the horrible fierceness of beasts came upon these, and they perished with the stings of crooked serpents, they wrath endured not forever, but they were troubled for a small season, that they might be admonished, having a sound of salvation, to put them in remembrance of the commandments of thy law. For he that turned himself toward it was not saved by the thing that he saw, but by thee, that art the Savior of all. And in this thou madest thine enemies confess that it is thou who deliverest from all evil. For them the bitings of grasshoppers and flies killed, neither was there found any remedy for their life, for they were worthy to be punished by such. But thy sons, not the very teeth of venomous dragons, overcame. For for thy mercy was ever by them, and healed them. For they were pricked that they should remember thy words, and were quickly saved, that not falling into deep forgetfulness, they might be continually mindful of thy goodness. For it was neither herb nor mollifying plasters that restored them to health, but thy word, O Lord, which healeth all things. For thou hast power of life and death. Thou leadest to the gates of hell and bringest up again. A man indeed killeth through his malice, and the spirit, when it is gone forth, returneth not. Neither the soul received up cometh again. But it is not possible to escape thy hand. For the ungodly that denied to know thee were scourged by the strength of thine arm, with strange rains, hails, and showers, where they persecuted that they could not avoid, and through fire were they consumed. For which is most to be wondered at, the fire had more force in the water that quencheth all things. For the world fighteth for the righteous. For some time the flame was mitigated, that it might not burn up the beasts that were sent against the ungodly, but themselves might see and perceive that they were persecuted with the judgment of God. And at another time it burneth even in the midst of water above the power of fire, that it might destroy the fruit of an unjust land. Instead whereof, thou feedest thine own people with angels' food, and did send them from heaven bread prepared without their labor, able to content every man's delight, and agreeing to every taste. For thy sustenance declared thy sweetness unto thy children, and serving to the appetite of the eater, tempered itself to every man's liking. But snow and ice endured the fire, and melted not, that they might know that the fire burning in the hail and sparkling in the rain did destroy the fruit of the enemies. Dang. But this again did even forget his own strength, that the righteous might be nourished. For the creature that serveth thee, who art the maker, increaseth his strength against the unrighteous for their punishment, and abateth his strength for the benefit of such as put their trust in thee. Therefore, even then was it altered into all fashion, and was obedient to thy grace that nourisheth all things, according to the desire of them that had need, that thy children, O Lord, whom thou lovest, might know that it is not the growing of fruits that nourisheth man, but that it is thy word which preserveth them that put their trust in thee. For that which was not destroyed of the fire, being warmed with a little sunbeam, soon melted away, that it might be known that we must prevent the sun to give thee thanks, and at the day spring pray unto thee. For the hope of the unthankful shall melt away as the winter's hoar frost, and shall run away as an unprofitable water. Chapter 17 and verse 1. Chapter 17 and verse 1.
Y'all caught that chapter. If you caught that chapter, you'll notice it was a lot going in about with the destruction of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And then how we came through the wilderness and all of that.
Yeah, about the fire that wasn't quenched with the water. That hell that was still on fire. All that.
The verse 5 when it said when the terrible the terrible fierce snakes attacked your people and were killing them with poison. That's talking about us traveling through the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
And we y'all know who sent them fiery serpents to us.
Mm-hmm.
We were still caught up in idolatry. We was running towards the most high. We know we've been delivered, but our mind was still in idolatry towards Egypt.
Right.
So the Lord brought them snakes upon us. It says they put their eyes back on the Lord. That means they got their ass to following the commandments.
What? People dropping dead. Mm-hmm.
Start putting hands on them. 1 Corinthians, real quick, just to 1 Corinthians 10 and 9.
All right. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 9. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 9. Neither let us tempt Christ, as some of us them for verse 9. Neither let us tempt Christ, as some of them also tempted, and were destroyed of serpents.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Same serpent. Now we see where them serpents was coming from and what it came from tempting the Lord. How was they doing that? Complaining.
Idolatry.
Their heart still caught up in idolatry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go back to Numbers 21 and 5.
Numbers chapter 21 and verse 5. Numbers chapter 21 and verse 5. And the people spake against God and against Moses. Wherefore have ye brought us out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread, neither is there any water. And our soul loatheth this light bread. And the Lord sent.
So as you can see, what they did, start tempting the Lord, start talking cash shit, they went contended, and then what happened?
And the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much people of Israel died.
You know.
Therefore, the people came to Moses and said, "We have sinned, for we have sinned."
See how the Most High wasn't playing? He opened their eyes up then.
Mm-hmm.
So now they coming to him in recognition. Okay, go ahead.
For we have spoken against the Lord and against thee. Pray unto the Lord that he take away the serpents from us. And Moses prayed for the people. And the Lord said unto Moses, make thee a fiery serpent and set it upon a pole. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is bitten, when he looketh upon it, shall live. And Moses made it.
Go ahead.
And Moses made a serpent of brass and put it upon a pole. And it came to pass that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of brass, he lived.
Now, let me say something. Let me see if I can find it. Now you know everything that these people got, they steal it from us, right?
Of course.
So have y'all ever noticed this? What do you think they got this from?
It popped up in my head before you even showed me. I got to put it closer. Oh, yep.
See that fiery serpent on that ambulance truck?
Mm-hmm.
You notice it's on that pole?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you think they got that from. I'm gonna show you. This was the same. It was damn near the same thing as the pole of Moses. Not to say this is the exact pole of Moses, but hold on, frozen.
No, you good.
It's just frozen on my side. Hold on,
Okay.
because I can't tell if y'all will be able to see it or not. Come on, man. Okay.
Yep, same thing.
Everything they get, they stole it from us. Now, of course, these more people got more pictures of them.
Mm-hmm.
But right here, I just want to show y'all those things, like show you these little contests in there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they everything them people do, you know, they stole it from us.
Yep. They want to be like us.
But that there was to show that, yeah, that's what happened. That we was tempted to the Most High. He sent them serpents upon us. And when it says that we remain, all of us didn't die. That's because of uh, he said they fixed their eyes upon this. That mean, their countenance changed. People start trying to run to the commandments. Then
Mm-hmm.
it's pissing the Most High off though, with all that damn complaining.
Yeah, they show up. Just ungrateful. Ungrateful. Lost that
All right,
faith. Chapter 17 and verse 1. Well, back in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17 and verse 1. For great, for great are thy judgment, and cannot be expressed. Therefore, nurtured souls have erred. For when unrighteous men thought to oppress the holy nation, they being shut up in their houses, the prisoners of darkness, and fettered with the bonds of a long night, lay there exiled from the eternal providence. For while they supposed to lie hid in their secret sins, they were scattered under a dark veil of forgetfulness, being horribly astonished and troubled with strange apparitions. For neither might the corner that held them keep them from fear, but noises as of waters falling down sounded about them, and sad visions appear unto them with heavy countenances. Now, no power of the fire, no power of the fire might give them light. Neither could the bright flames of the stars endure to lighten that horrible night. Only there appear unto them a fire kindled of itself, very dreadful, for being much terrified. They thought the things which they saw to be worse than the sight they saw not. As for the illusions of art, magic, they were put down, and their vaunting in wisdom was reproved with disgrace. For they that promised to drive away terrors and troubles for a sick soul were sick themselves of fear, worthy to be laughed at. For though no terrible thing did fear them, yet being scared with beasts that passed by and hissing of serpents, they died for fear. Dang. Denying that they saw the error, which could of no side be avoided. For wickedness condemned by her own witness is very timorous and being and being pressed with conscience, always forecasteth grievous things, for fear is nothing else but a betraying of the succors which reason offereth, and the expectation from within, being less counteth the ignorance more than the cause which bringeth the torment. But they sleeping the same sleep that night, which was indeed intolerable, and which came upon them out of the bottom of inevitable hell, were partly vexed with monstrous apparitions, and partly fainted, their heart failing them, for a sudden fear and not looked for came upon them. So then whosoever there fell down was straitly kept, shut up in a prison without iron bars. For whether he were a husbandman or shepherd or a laborer in the field, he was overtaken and endured that necessity, which could not be avoided. For they were all bound with one chain of darkness, whether it were a whistling wind or a melodious me- melodious noise of birds among the spreading branches, or a pleasing fall of water running violently, or a terrible sound of stones cast down, or a running that could not be seen of skipping beasts, or a roaring voice of most savage wild beasts, or a rebounding echo from the hollow mountains. These things made them to swoon for fear. For the whole world shined with clear light, and none were hindered in their labor. Over them only was spread a heavy night, an image of that darkness which should afterward receive them. But yet were they unto themselves more grievous than the darkness. Dang. Most I was not playing. Chapter 18 and verse 1. Chapter 18 and verse 1. Nevertheless, thy saints had a very great light, whose voice they hearing and not seeing their shape, because they also had not suffered the same things, they counted them happy. But for that they did not hurt them now, of whom they had been wronged before, they thanked them, and besought them pardon for that they had been enemies. Instead whereof thou gavest them a burning pillar of fire, both to be a guide of the unknown journey and a harmless son to entertain them honorably. For they were worthy to be deprived of light and imprisoned in darkness, who had kept thy son shut up, by whom the uncorrupt light of the law was to be given unto the world. And when they had determined to slay the babes of the saints, one child being cast forth and saved to reprove them, thou tookest away the multitude of their children, and destroyest them altogether in the mighty water. Of that night were our fathers certified afore, that assuredly, knowing unto what oaths they had given credence, they might afterwards be of good cheer. So of thy people was accepted both the salvation of the righteous and destruction of the enemies. For wherewith thou didst punish our adversaries, by the same thou didst glorify us, whom thou hast called. For the righteous children of good man did sacrifice secretly, and with one consent made a holy law, that the saints should be like partakers of the same good and evil. The Father the fathers now singing out the songs of praise. But on the other side, there sounded an ill according cry of the enemies, and a lamentable noise was carried abroad for children that were bewailed. The master and the servant were punished after one manner, and like as the king, so suffered the common person. So they all together had innumerable dead with one kind of death. Neither were the living sufficient to bury them. For in one moment the noblest offspring of them was destroyed. For whereas they would not believe anything by reason of the enchantments upon the destruction of the firstborn, they acknowledged this people to be the sons of God. For while all things were in for while all things were in quiet silence, and that night was in the midst of her swift course, thine almighty word leaped down from heaven, out of thy royal throne, as a fierce man of war into the midst of a land of destruction, and brought thine unfeigned commandments as a sharp sword, and standing up fill all things with death, and it touches the heaven, but it stood upon the earth. Then suddenly, visions of horrible dreams troubled them sore, and terrors came upon them unlooked for. And one thrown here and another there, half dead, shewed the cause of his death. For the dreams that troubled them did foreshew this, lest they should perish, and not know why they were afflicted. Yeah, this tasting of death touched the righteous also, and there was a destruction of the multitude in the wilderness. But the wrath endured not long. For then the blameless man made haste and stood forth to defend them, and bringing the shield of his proper ministry, even prayer and the propitiation of incense, set
That
himself
man was
against.
Aaron.
Huh?
Said that man was the priest Aaron.
Okay. Set himself against the wrath, and so brought the calamity to an end, declaring that he was thy servant. So he overcame the destroyer, not with strength of body, nor force of arms, but with a word subdued he him that punished, alleging the oath and covenants made with the fathers. For when the dead were now fallen down by heaps one upon another, standing between he stayed the wrath and parted the way to the living. For in the long garment was the whole world, and the four rows of the stones was the glory of the Father's graven, and thy majesty upon the diadem of his head. Unto these the destroyer gave place and was afraid of them, for it was enough that they only tasted of the wrath. Chapter 9, that's the last chapter of Wisdom of Solomon. I mean, chapter 19. Chapter 19, the last chapter. Let's get it. Verse 1. As for the ungodly, wrath came upon them without mercy unto the end. For he knew before what they would do, how that having given them leave to depart and sent them hastily away, they will repent and pursue them. For whilst they were yet mourning and making lamentation at the graves of the dead, they added another foolish device and pursued them as fugitives, whom they had entreated to be gone. For the destiny whereof they were worthy drew them unto this end, and made them forget the things that had already happened, that they might fulfill the punishment which was wanting to their torments, and that thy people might pass a wonderful way, but they might find a strange death. For the whole creature in his proper kind was fashioned again anew, serving the peculiar commandments that were given unto them, that thy children might be kept without hurt, as namely a cloud shadowing the camp, and where water stood before, dry land appeared, and out of the Red Sea a way without impediment, and out of the violent stream a green field, wherethrough all the people went that were defended with thy hand, seeing thy marvelous strange wonders. For they went at large like horses, and leaped like lambs, praising thee, O Lord, who has delivered them. For they were yet mindful of the things that were done while they sojourned in the strange land, how the ground brought forth flies instead of cattle, and how the river cast up a multitude of frogs instead of fishes. Dang. But afterwards they saw a new generation of fowls, when being led with their appetite, they ate delicate meat. For quails came up unto them from the sea for their contentment, and punishment came upon the sinners, not without form of signs by the force of thunders. For they suffered justly according to their own wickedness, and so much as they used a more hard and hateful behavior toward strangers. For the Sodomites did not receive those whom they knew not when they came, but these brought friends into bondage that had well deserved of them. And not only so, but peradventure, some respect shall be had of those because they use strangers not friendly. But these very grievously afflicted them, whom they had received with feastings, and were already made partakers of the same laws with them. Therefore, even with blindness were these stricken, as those were at the doors of the righteous man, when being compassed about with horrible great darkness, every one sought the passage of his own doors. For the elements were changed in themselves by a kind of harmony, like as in a psaltery notes change the name of the tune, and yet are always sound, which may well be perceived by the sight of the things that have been done. For earthly things were turned into watery, and the things that before swam in the water now went upon the ground. Damn. The fire had power in the water, forgetting his own virtue, and the water forgot his own quenching nature. On the other side, the flames wasted not the flesh of the corruptible living things. Though they walked therein, neither melted they the icy kind of heavenly meat that was of nature ought to melt. For in all things, O Lord, thou didst magnify thy people and glorify them. Neither didst thou lightly regard them, but didst assist them in every time and place. That's the end of Wisdom of Solomon. And Lord's will, y'all took something from this reading. Whew.
Yep.
That's how you feel it? Boy,
The destruction of Egypt was gonna be fucked up with, boy.
what?
All this
Yeah,
stuff's fun, man.
but
It's a hell of a read.
everybody.
All of that. It's a hell of a read, man.
You said what happened?
We done went through the idolatry all the way up to and start breaking down the destruction of Egypt. Hell of a read.
Yes, sir. All glory to the Father, boy. That was that destruction, boy. That destruction, reading it, you just like imagine seeing, like witnessing all that, witnessing the power of the Most High. That, boy, the fear that brought to the enemy, and the fear and the joy that brought to us.
Crazy thing is, we see all that destruction and it's like still go backwards.
That part, I like all that he just did. He did it for us, but still, after he saved us, we still went into idolatry, wanting to serve somebody else. That's crazy.
Thing hit different, and it's like so much stuff, man.
Definitely do. It definitely
Happy
do.
Sabbath. Shalom, happy Sabbath. Man, I like playing, man, but we reading this instruction.
Shabbat
I
shalom,
pray
man.
for real. It also it just showed that how easy it is to get distracted, man. How easy it is to lose sight.
Yeah, it ain't hard. It ain't hard. Yeah, that was a good.
Pray y'all took something from this one.
Yeah, man. Lord's will. Lord's will. Everybody kept the Sabbath holy, and appreciate those that was able to join the reading. Lord's will. The ones that wasn't able to catch us live, be able to catch the rewind. The rerun of it.
Mm-hmm.
And Lord's will, we'll be here sometime during the week.
And if not, Lord's will, we be back on the Sabbath. And we pray that we have some of the tuner inners that tune in with us. So,
Yeah.
till then, everybody stay in the spirit. River of frogs instead of fish. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing that I was thinking too. I'm like, dang. It was no fish turned that, and then they're talking about the things in the water were no longer in the water, was on the land now. Just think about that. Like everything changed.
That's a
And
different
talking
type
about
of fire.
things were walking in the fire.
Yeah, that's a different type of fire too. Where you say, man, the water didn't put it out, none could quench
Right.
it. It said that the
Imagine
water
how hot
forgot
that
it.
thing is.
It said the water forgot its quenching nature. So that means like the water was doing absolutely nothing to the fire. You know, even when you put water on the fire, even if you don't put it out, you can kind of see it dampen it some.
Yeah,
But
it do something at least.
when this fire, the water wasn't doing absolutely nothing. It was just like,
And what would been crazy if it like amped up the fire, like putting a coal in it. That would have been crazy. But yeah, it was a good one. Yeah, it was a good one, bro.
so man, we praise that we had you with us again. Until then, pray y'all stay in the spirit. And we will be back, Lord's will. That's how something is.
Right. Yeah, that is how some of it been. And still some forest fires going on right now. Been going on for a whole year and they still can't put it out.
Lord ain't playing, man. When you say he gonna send a fire, it's gonna devour. That's what's going on when you hear about that type of stuff.
Right.
You be hearing about the fire just rushing out of nowhere, just coming out full blaze.
Yeah, man. But we got a bunch of feasts coming up coming up soon too. So yeah.
Yeah, it's just got a good time coming. You got memorial blowing of the trumpet. You got the one that we wait year round to get back to, which is the atonement.
Yep.
And then
Tabernacles.
got the one that I love.
Everybody get y'all tents ready. Everybody get y'all tents ready.
Yeah, man. It's time to have fun, man. Y'all get ready, man. It's time to play some games and stuff, man. It's time to have fun, man.
No. We finna be out here.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Hey, don't worry. Hey, we're gonna see how I feel to get chased by a chicken.
That fire pits.
Over there.
I tell you, man, it's gonna be good, man. Lord's will, man. We pray, man. We're praying that tabernacles be lit up. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, because it's going down.
Oh yeah. But
We're gonna figure this thing out. All righty, so pass it back to St. John. I'm gonna be quiet. Oh man, don't that sound like a menu?
grilled lamb and corn on the cob. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
man. Yeah, man. Get a paintbrush and some butter.
What? And our specialty seasoning.
Yeah, go right to the end and just spin that motherfucker. Just spin it. Like that.
Well, that sounds real good right now. Mm,
Y'all don't know. Yeah. Great, Jay. Y'all
Boy.
better get ready. There's some potatoes. We can bake them things on the grill too.
Oh yeah, definitely that. Definitely them.
I think
We need all them.
I don't know. We might need to run sessions this year. I wanted to do that. I wanted to do a. That's why I wanted to see if the other brothers and sisters wanted to if they got it in them where they could join us, because I want to do like booths this year. Like on my section, it might be baked potato section. I come over there
Mhm.
and I'm putting things up. You get it how you live over there. You know what I'm saying? Go to somebody else section. You might get your corn in the car. Go, oh, they got some wine. You know what I'm saying? Have a little booth set up, and it's really like we just traveling around our home in Jerusalem, feasting together.
Yeah, that'd be dope though. That would definitely be dope though.
Tell little boy to bring the things and cook them on
Boy.
up. We get it, man. It be straight, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
nice though. Hey, Lord's will, we could get it that way.
Lord's will, man. And then, yeah, so we're gonna definitely do it up. We're gonna Lord's will, we hear from y'all soon. I'm gonna be I gotta reach out to the other brother, Curve. I ain't heard from him in a second. I'm gonna reach out and
Mm-hmm.
see what's looking like, what it's gonna be.
10-4. Yeah, we'll reach out and see. And try to get them more brothers and sisters in the building. Go ahead. Join these feast days, Get out here. Put in some work together.
Lord's will.
Yeah. All right.
That Shalom, Most High in Christ.
Shalom, Most High in Christ. Happy Sabbath.